All right, quick thing before we get into the episode. Number one, thank you for watching. We all like talking about this stuff. It's a lot of fun. We're happy that people are subscribed. Number two, we recorded this episode last week, midway through the week, before we had learned what was in those purple-black Luffy starter decks along with that Marshall D. Teach starter deck. But a lot of the information that we're talking about on this episode is still like super relevant. Specifically, the EB02 prices, what it's like to play cards in Japan, what the competition is like, how it's changed with the meta, what the meta is going to be since they're getting starter decks late. A lot of that info is pretty prescient, and I think it's worth talking about. So we still wanted to drop this episode, but the day we drop this episode, we're actually recording another episode that'll come out later in the week. So you're getting two. The main reason it's taking us a second to drop this one is because there are audio issues. We're using those DJI wireless mics, and they had something called phasing. If you know anything about audio, phasing issues, which is why sometimes you sound like a droid every so often when two mics, are over each other. It's super frustrating, so I'm bringing some higher quality mics this time around. So we'll have clean, pristine audio and a great discussion about those starter decks, a bunch of stuff that just dropped for OP12, and what the US meta looks like going into OP11. Lastly, I want to ask, send us your lethals. This show is called Go for Lethal, and we want to be able to look at how you set up lethal, how you swing for lethal, what's going on. If you're at a local or hanging out at your friend's house, or you just want to be like, put me on the show, take a picture of your board state and then a picture of your hand. Let us know what they got, and send it to goforlethal@gmail.com. Let us know what they have, how much life, how many cards, and we'll try to swing for lethal and figure out what the best way to do this is. And then also let us know if what you did worked or didn't work. Obviously, ask your opponent because you don't want to get fucking DQ'd and shit. But anyway, that's that. Let's get to the episode. It's gas. Let's go. Quarters, everybody about to find out. Hey, welcome to Go for Lethal. My name is Zach Tabani.
I'm Dean Khasanov.
I'm Zack Chamberlain.
I'm Chris Okamura.
And if you haven't heard, this is our new One Piece TCG podcast where we talk about the One Piece card game, what's going on with it. We have a lot to talk about today. But first off, as you may notice, Chris, you're in a separate location.
Yeah, I'm in Japan.
You're in Japan.
For two weeks now.
Chris was like, Chris and Dean were like, we need to make this a high quality podcast. And then Chris was like, I'm gonna fuck off to Japan because I don't need to be here. What's been going on in Japan? Have you been playing a lot of tournaments? What you been up to?
Yeah, so I'm here for work. Obviously, I'm here for Japan. But then after that, I went to Ikebukuro for a day and kind of just built Blue Yellow Nami.
Oh shit!
And then started playing tournaments. And so I've been to, I think, 4 or 5 tournaments now. And I have to leave early for like 30 minutes to go to another one. So.
Oh shit!
That's crazy. Priorities in check, huh?
Hey, gotta get those tournaments in.
I gotta ask because it's a rumor I've heard, just like seeing on X, like in the One Piece community. Locals are free in Japan? True or false?
Typically, yeah.
That's wild.
That's crazy to me.
Well, do you get packs for what?
There might be some. Yeah, there might be some stores that have like some, but like for the majority of them I've played now, there's none of them.
What's the competition like? Because there's a lot of discrepancy about whether or not because I know a lot of people use Japanese deck lists here and they don't do as well. And there's been a lot of how's the competition in Japan? Has it been like really kind of crazy? Is it kind of the same? Is it less or what?
It's kind of the same. It's hit or miss. Like you run into good players, you run into bad players. It's like anything.
Yeah.
You run into a lot of like the meta stuff, and then some. Like I was saying, the Luffy's are pretty prominent. So like green purple, blue purple, Luffy are pretty prevalent. So that's probably like half of what I played, or any combination of those three.
Yeah. And is it Luffy like we're used to over here with like Luffy Taro spamming board, or is it like top end Luffy or Luffy? Because I've seen now they're switching to like the Katakuri and top end version.
I've played more of the board spam.
Yeah,
one,
like we're used to.
But I did run into the higher end ones.
Mm-hmm.
But then so the majority of kind of that's what I'm running into is those decks. But then you still have like I played a green yellow law.
Yeah.
I played a Piscid. Yeah, I played a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like people play more like is it like exactly like do you think people play more aggressively here or they're more conservative there? I mean, just especially because we come from fighting games and we know like styles specifically between regions are so different, you know, in decision making.
I think it's a little slower here. And like even the aggro decks feel a little slower. Where I'm always surprised that like with green purple, I'm like, oh, they're gonna go all in here, and it's like, oh no, they waited a turn, or they really want to guarantee the lethal before they go for it. So like there's no. I mean, I think in the U.S. and sort of where we're used to, people engage a little heavier, where they're willing to take the risk. Where you're like, hey, I have 7 cards in the end, but they're gonna go for it anyway. But like here, they're very, very careful and very like, okay, they're gonna whittle down your hand a little bit, and then go for swing when they know for sure it's ready to go.
Well, that's great.
There's no really risk involved.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of weird. Like, if there wasn't any like entry cost, and I assume pricing scales, right? Like, pricing's not going to be crazy like it is here in the U.S. for winning like a $10 entry locals with like 30 people. You know, you get a lot of pricing, right? So I assume pricing scales in that way where it's worse, but you don't pay anything to get in. I would just go balls to the wall. I would be playing like whatever, you know, like just crazy decks, and then just go for like crazy lethals, you know, because I don't have anything to lose and I'm there for fun at the end of the day.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I feel like, so do you see more rogue decks then in that case?
No, I don't think more, but I mean, it's definitely, again, I think people just take it a little more seriously. So it's not so much about the prizing, but it's about like the practice and getting better and that kind of thing. There's more of a serious nature to it.
Is there tournaments every day?
Yeah, depending on where you go. Yeah, so like obviously I'm in Tokyo, so
the concentration's like really
Ikebukuro,
heavy.
Yeah, so like Ikebukuro, like I showed you guys a map, right? You can pull up the map that I showed you guys. Ikebukuro, there's probably like 20 card shops within like a 5-minute walking distance. So I mean, you can kind of, each one of those has tournament days and different days. So like some of them run Tuesdays, some of them run Wednesdays, so that kind of stuff. But then that's just one area. So like Ikebukuro is one area that's more player focused, and then more of like the touristy areas like Shibuya, Akihabara, that kind of stuff. It's still the same concentration. There's a ton of card shops, but those are more collector focused and more like shop focused. But then they still have tournaments too, so it's a matter of finding what days and which ones they can talk to people about where players go.
That's right, guys. Japan is just like us. Nobody's gonna. There we go. We've got connection.
I feel like they take it way too seriously. I mean, from what I've heard, like stories from friends that have gone to Japan and played in locals there, because it's so like concentrated, right? Like even in the Valley, like we're all from the Valley, we play One Piece here. We have our Fire and Dice on Mondays and Fridays, right? Or Thursdays. We have Fandom on Fridays. We have Emerald Nights on Wednesdays.
We have GS Gamers when we need product.
We have like our own little circuit, right? But it's really spread out, so it doesn't see like as much heavy attendance. But I feel like when they're all like the picture you sent us, all those card shops are like in a square block. So I guess, but
it's also a cultural thing too, because I mean, Chris, you can speak to this better than I can, but like culturally in Japan, like you have like a hobby or something like that you really just take up and you go like ham at it. Some people take up arcades, and like that's what you see people like Daigo who are so incredible at playing. There are people who play like terrible arcade games like Usoge, right? And get crazy at it, right? So like you have to think that like this is a pastime. It's part of your like lifestyle, life. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that. Tell me if I'm ignorant.
No, the thing that was cool was like yesterday when I was in Ikebukuro, right? It was the thing of like you play one tournament and like everyone gets up and like walks to the next. Like it's not like
that's insane.
That's so much fun.
That's so sweaty.
So it's like a fucking beer crawl with One Piece.
Yeah,
100%. And so like some people like fuck off, they go eat or whatever, and then
next turning up,
and then you see them at the next one, right? Like they skip one and then they go to the next one.
So sweaty, like. Well, if that's the case, like, and entry is free, right? Did you have any trouble getting into any of these tourneys? Like, what's the capacity?
No, we didn't hit capacity on any of them. We're averaging anywhere from like 20 to 30 per event. But I mean, again, that's every hour, right? Or every couple hours.
That's crazy, man.
That's a wild amount of people playing One Piece.
Yeah.
I mean, the game is doing really well.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy popular here.
Do you feel like
the thing I do have to say? No, I have to say this before I forget. I have a picture of it. I'll put it so you guys can put it in the video. but the One Piece stores, they have these tables that are like,
that's right.
It's the playmat, and you place cards on the plate. Like there's this like LED.
It's a display table.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
you can build that here. It's not horrible. That's pretty sick.
No, but it's so sick.
Yeah,
I watched them play on it, and so it's cool.
Bro, we're all insanely jealous of you. And wish we were there, so we
coming next time, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully when we have budget and all real IDs. When we all have real IDs, we can go. Okay. But very quickly, let's move on to our first topic because we only got Chris for a little bit of time right now. Let's talk about EB02, kind of like we did the first episode, but this time it's actually out, and it is fucking expensive, right? If you have been anywhere around the One Piece card game and you still have money, that means you have no more EB02. You've not gotten a single card. You've not engaged with the set because the prices are skyrocketing. It's about almost $200 for a box as of this recording. The Secret Rare Luffy All Chart is $150. Secret Rare is $60 a card, and the pull rates are confirmed to not be amazing, right? You get 4 Secret Rares a box. You get 8 Sanji Puddings a box. People are trading these like toilet paper during the pandemic. So first off, let's talk a little bit about. We already know Green Purple Luffy is such a crazy deck in this format, right? We've already talked a little bit about that, but let's just talk about the availability of this set, right? Number one,
quick aside, I was in Japan when the set released, and so I did everything remotely. So I called I got our local, right, and like our
2 boxes,
and I had them. I like remotely Venmoed them money to buy boxes, and I had them open it for me, so I knew what was in it. And then once I knew what was in it, then I think I messaged Zach and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna send you $100. I'm gonna send you money. Like, help me find these cards because I have the feeling that everything's gonna blow up." So I have the Purple Luffy built, ready to go.
Yeah. Good call.
At home, but like I had to do it remotely because I was like, these prices are gonna spike.
Bro,
I can't wait till I get home.
$300 for the alt art leader is insane. Like I bought full disclosure, I bought a case. Like I had 6 boxes. I bought it retail, and I have some guy who sells me One Piece, like, because we all have a dealer at this point. This is drugs.
Cardboard crack.
Yeah, cardboard crack. And I bought the case. The case was expensive, but it wasn't as expensive as like, because people were selling cases for like $2,500.
Yeah,
I got a case.
That's why
I got a case for less than that. It's about $160 a box. Do the math. I'm not going to say it because I don't want people to know my financial situation. I couldn't afford it. But I pulled the Secret Rare Alt Art. 4 Secret, and then I pulled Alt Art Sanji Pudding and Alt Art Leader.
Yeah, so you got the good side of the box, dude.
Crazy box. 2 Alt Art Enels, 2 Alt Art Yamatos. Like, it was a fucking nuts. And I got a very light, and I had Green Purple Luffy built by the end of it. But man, like there was a point where I was like just going through the box. I'm like, I may not be able to build this deck.
Yeah.
Off of just 6 bottles. Like, it's very scarce. And just a question very quickly for you guys, like, with the game doing so well, and after we've had all of these sets with widely available like product and stock, right? OP09 had a ton of stock. OP10 had a ton of stock. People are like, we don't so much.
Yeah, so much. The boxes are down to like what, $80?
OP08 it like had so much stock, like so much, right? And that had Rayleighs in it, right? And that were going up for as much as a box at one point. Why limit this set? Why limit this set when the game is doing so popular and not print as much?
Well, I think
the
routinely
same thing that happens with like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Where like side sets just don't print as many of them.
Yeah, Prismatic's a really good example of that, right? Like it's a side set or a reprint set. And Bandai traditionally for their card games, like they do these half sets or like extra boosters, they call them. Across all games, right? Digimon's a really good example of this, where sometimes like they do these half sets where they're even labeled differently, right? Like our main sets are OP1 to 10 or OP11, 12, right? And then we get the like EB01 or PRB1, right? And they just traditionally don't print enough for these sets.
But this was not nearly. I mean, like I hear horror stories about EB01, and I started when EB01 was already out, going into OP07. And like I remember EB01 took a huge dip at one point, and it was you were able to get like bond clays for $20 before they shot back up to like $60.
The problem with EB01 was that, and Dean remembers this too. I don't know if Zach was around for this, but EB01, the problem was that like the cards that they released, you're like, when they came out, you're like, these are fucking terrible.
Yeah, they're not that good.
Yeah.
And then
This
over
Cavendish,
time, they were like, over time, they were like, you're like, oh, these are actually now really valuable and good.
Yeah.
Like the blocker chopper was like useless back then.
Well,
the bond clay was like situationally useful.
Just for RP Law.
yeah, it was like RP Law was the reason. Because the moment RP Law was gone, I saw 2-cost Shirahoshi, and I bought like a bunch of them because I was like, this is a great card.
Yep.
And it was only bad because it got bottom decked every time.
Yeah.
I mean, even well, I think that's a good point. I remember I bought the bond clays because the first deck I wanted to build was the RP Luffy, when he was just completely useless because Lucci would just eat him. But like I remember having to paying $30 and seeing it spike up to 40, and like the chopper was like, nope, the chopper was $10 at one point.
Yeah.
And now it's a full, it's kind of nuts. Do you guys see EB02 going down in price? Do you see a similar trajectory? I would like to say also before we move forward, there's a little bit of information. Don't take it as gospel that there might be a reprint or more shipments coming on the 16th. There may be people who are selling it on the 16th. That's not confirmed. Don't fucking get mad.
So we do have slight confirmation from Bandai because they announced the errata for the Vegapunk leader, since there's a typo. So in order for them to errata, they need to print more.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Because that's such a high rarity card. Like in the past, when they've errated things, they would just have like an extra booster pack they'd include in the next set when you buy a box, kind of like a box promo. But they can't do that with such a high rarity card, right? There's 25 or 26 of these gold leaders.
Yeah.
And each one's going for between $150 and $200. So it's not like they can just be like, oh, you buy a box of OP11, here's a gold Vegapunk with the right text this time, right?
Yeah.
By the way, so in terms of like EB02 here in Japan, so typical alt leader, like the alt Nami that I have was 3,200 yen, right? Which is like $20, $25.
That's not bad at all.
But then, and most leaders that I've seen are like, in that range of like 3,000 to 4,000 yen. So, like for example, like OPO1 Zoro or like OPO3 Nami. So like really high value leaders.
Yeah.
They're going for like 10 to 12k yen, which is probably like $70-$80. But then green purple Luffy alt leader goes for 16k
yen, which is about $110.
Yeah, so like just the discrepancy, so it gives you an idea of the discrepancy of like all this, how insane this EB02 set is. And the gold leaders are going for about 5,000 to 6,000 as well.
Is the pricing just way cheaper in Japan overall for that? Like, also, how scarce is EB02 in Japan right now? Like, is it just as?
I mean,
do they deal with the same shit?
Now.
Oh, okay.
No, I can go buy a box right now.
Yeah.
It's just like it looks like the pull rates are.
There's probably still boxes of PRB in Japan, right? I mean, they don't.
Still boxes of PRB. I can pretty much buy any product. I think the problem that you run into is that the pull rate, since the products are still available, the pull rates are worse.
Oh, wait, so you don't even get 2 hits a box?
No, definitely not in Japanese boxes.
Wow.
And they're smaller boxes quantity wise too.
And isn't there less cards in each pack?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 12. It's 12 packs a box, but for $50 or whatever.
Oh, 12 packs a box. Okay.
So, with 5 cards a pack or 6 cards a pack?
Yeah, something like that.
You're
getting less product per box.
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's a very different scenario. I mean, that's an interesting. You would
think that there's less, like let's say that gold Vegapunk leader, right? Then there's less in circulation if there's only 1 hit a box.
I mean, also I think that's a smarter thing because if you're buying boxes at half, like 12 packs per box, right? You're guaranteed a hit, right? Pull rates, but like it's not as, you're not paying more to roll the dice more, right? You're paying more to roll the dice less in America than you are in Japan.
I think there's like seldom hits in Japan that pay for your box. And,
probably, yeah.
I think, and I don't think it's because of a supply thing. I think that just like English cards for some reason carry a premium because Pokemon's gone crazy lately, and collectors are jumping.
There's a culture. There's an American culture around. It sounds so stupid, but there's an American culture around hobby shops and cards, kind of price gouging. Has been there since Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah. I remember playing Yu-Gi-Oh when I was a kid, and back in the olden days, when Jinzo came out. Yeah. Jinzo was a fucking. Oh
my god.
Oh yeah, Jinzo transformed the game because it's basically. Did you ever play Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yes.
Sack 1, before everybody had like 17,000, before every card was a fucking novel you had to read and then do a book report on, all right? You sack 1, 2,400 like attack leader, and all trap cards are negated. And it changed. You couldn't use Mirror Force, you couldn't use Wobble, you couldn't use anything. Your defense went out the window. It fucked Exodia decks. It fucked a lot of decks just immediately, like Yada would eventually. And so that card immediately was like $70 in the mid 2000s, which that
was a lot of money back then.
Back then it was fucking crazy. So like you're like, well, I'm not gonna spend $70 for a card, but now it's kind of, people know that there are like cards that go for like $1,200 and like $1,000. The fact that you see Jake Paul carrying around a Charizard on his fucking necklace that's worth $15,000. I mean,
but it's okay to have high rarity stuff, and I don't have any issue with like high rarity or mangas being worth a lot of money.
You have to have the low, as long as the base stuff is.
Yeah, you give people a reason to open boxes.
I feel like the reason, like, again, we talked about it last time. Like the appeal of this game is the fact that you could build a deck with no rarity at like $50 to $100, maybe a little bit more, even cheaper.
Blackbeard, if you take out finger pistols, it's like a $20 deck.
So cheap.
It's crazy.
The Kuzans are like bulk now too. They're like $1.
But the second it gets to where it's like this deck is like $200, $300. I mean, guys, like that's crazy, and especially like. Green Purple Luffy is a $600 deck, right?
With the secrets, being $80.
With the secrets being $80.
And that's a low rarity. I mean, there was a time, I think on Friday, on release day, that the Altar secret was like $80, $90, right? And we were just talking about this yesterday.
It was $100.
It was $100. I sold mine to him for $100.
Overnight, it just like doubled in price, and
that's gonna go down. But that's one of those things where like scalpers are fucking up the game.
It speaks to something shady going on.
What I will say though is, like, sorry.
The funny thing is, while I was here, so I have the blue yellow Nami that I built, whatever, right? And it cost maybe $50, like you guys are saying.
Yeah, so cheap. And you have the all-time leader, right?
Japan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I was laughing because I was thinking to myself, I was like, I could alt this deck out in Japan for like $100.
Yeah.
And I was like, should I do it? And I was like, I'm only gonna use this for a week, but like, should I alt this out anyway?
Hey, if you want a tournament, alt it out for $100 and just frame it.
Frame it with the winner card you got.
I mean, do you think? Yes. Part of me wonders, like, if like no card game has really done this, to be honest. But like, if Bandai suddenly went, hey, actually, Japanese cards are legal in the States, they would never do it. No card game has ever done it. But if they did do it,
and but if they did do it, bad. It would go so bad.
I think it'd be bad for the game.
You have someone bring decks that have alternate arts and different languages, so people wouldn't know what card it is.
That's me.
Yeah, I was like,
I do that. I've already done that. I did that last week with BY Luffy with the One Piece Day promo from Japan. The Egghead Luffy. I was like, dude, I'm playing this. 100% would be me. Yes, awful for the game, but I'd do it for every.
No, but I mean, would it do? It would be awful for the game, but you think it would bring down prices if you can mitigate it? This is not a take that I'm endorsing. I'm just wondering.
I think
I think it'd bring up Japanese prices.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out a way like to reduce. I know one thing that Bandai has been doing, and I saw a video on it, was in the EB02. One thing that is very, it's weird. I think short printing this set is a really fucking bad idea. I'm glad they're making reprints. I hope they bring more reprints there. I hope we at least have a flood of reprints like going through OP 11, because then it'll bring down the price significantly, right? What I would say is that one thing about this set that is not in OP 10, I think even in OP 9, is that when you weigh the packs, the pack weights are all over the place. Like if you're looking at the holograph, if you're using the EB02 holographics, they're very complex. There's a lot of different layering in there. But they had somebody on YouTube weigh all of the packs, right?
You could find the hits, or
no, you can't.
You can't. Okay,
that's you could in previous boxes. Okay. You could, so you could dead a box and then resell it, and that was a huge thing. Bandai has eliminated that now. So if you go to EB02, like I have 6 boxes in the living room, right? If we weigh, giving away my financial situation, if we give away if we weighed through all of those packs and we got the heaviest packs, you would get like 2 rare only packs, a leader pack.
That's
like
really
a
good.
basic pack, and then 2 super rares, and he got 1 hit from that. Most of the super rares were in the lightest packs, and one of the hits was in the lightest pack,
which is really good.
Time out really quick. I got curious and I looked up the TCG player for the secret, just base rarity secret. It got bought out this morning.
Again?
There's one listing. For $150.
That's crazy.
Regular base
Everything
rarity?
else, yeah.
I have 1.
Yeah, it's
that's
insane.
That's predatory at this point.
Yeah,
I thought 500 for the leader is already predatory. That's insane. Because even during the PRB, Sanji wasn't horrible. Like he was $70, but like I mean maybe by your guys' standards he's horrible. But Sanji wasn't a terrible leader to grab. Playable. Yeah,
and we have to remember that this is like it's near a tier 0 format. It's the best deck, but not by a large margin. But as it's less than a month-long format. Like we're getting 11 in less than a month on June 6th, and then automatically that's the tier 0 deck to beat. Yeah. Why are we dropping this much money?
Because that is 100% predatory, and I think it's one of those things where people have kind of identified. I feel there was a period between OP09. I mean, EB01 was going crazy, right? But OP09 and
time out. I fucked up. I'm in Japan. It's giving me only TCG player things that ship to Japan.
Oh yeah, so I was about to say, dude, there's no way. We got
Chris.
No.
We got a real problem with the base rarity secrets 150, dude. I'm gonna go home and sell that deck right now.
Dean's about to pay for like 3 months of his rent and like all of his groceries.
Off one deck. Yeah.
If you could find a buyer though.
People want to play. That's the thing. I mean, we're kind of what we talked about last episode is we're in a really big competitive season right now. I personally have 3 online regionals this month. So people want to play the deck, right? This coming weekend is the first regional that's going to be legal with EB01 or EB02. So I understand why people are dropping this money, but the growth for the alt arts and like even the base rarity for the deck does not seem organic.
No.
Like, I've seen organic price raising. This is not organic. This is somebody speccing that there's not going to be a reprint, and that they could just like corner the market and buy it out.
Well, you think that that's going to be? Dude, I'm almost positive there's going to be so when I bought the case, I'd asked people. I was asking around for this EB02 case for so fucking long because I wanted to play just to clarify. I wanted to play Green Purple Luffy before it was cool. All right, I listened. I'm Zach Braff listening to Shins.
How many times I've heard that?
Yeah, when I said it, and when I remember going in and being like, "Oh, that leader seems sick," and everyone was like,
"I always wanted to play the 2-0 leader, dude." Even before, do you know how many people said that for Dofi?
Yeah, but fuck Dofi.
Chris said that.
First off, I'm not Chris. Okay, all right. I have.
Well, okay. To be fair, again, you all know me by now. The style of leader of what Green Purple Luffy does and like the way it plays is my style of play. It's like go face and
I wanted the +1. Like when I saw the +1K in the reset, I was like, oh, that seems really cool. And I remember like watching a VV Theory video, and he was like, this is trash.
Yeah,
this is gonna be trash.
Gonna be dog.
And I was like, no, it's gonna be good. I didn't even see Sanji pudding yet. And then when it came out, they're like, oh, actually, this deck is kind of loopy. I'm like, oh, is it? Oh, is it? Coping with black purple still, but it's okay. Okay, so now that we have that established that I'm not a fraud, because it's all about me. I think. Do you think that there is some part of like? I mean, it seems like a really shitty counterintuitive strategy, right? But do you think that some part of it is like having scalpers kind of? I feel like there are weird ways people. Maybe that's a dumb theory. I was thinking like, do you feel like there's a anti-scalper mechanism in this, right? Because it feels like it feels like people buy One Piece at high price, but to an extent. Like there's a point where they just don't.
Well, the anti-scalper strategy is print more, and Pokemon utilizes it really well, right? Because they have factories domestically. One Piece doesn't have that. I think that's one of the things we have to talk about too, with there being so much supply in Japan, is that the cards are all produced in Japan. Even the English cards, even the French cards, to my knowledge, that just came out, right? You can even see it on the side of the card, made in Japan. So I think that pinches it a little bit when we have these situations where everybody wants EB02. Like everybody and their mom was lining up at shops that are selling for retail, right?
Yeah.
Just to get EB02. So I think that creates a situation where even if it wasn't hyped, like even if the cards were dog, right? People still want it to some degree, and there's just not enough supply to go around.
Do you think this changed?
I think the problem too was EB01.
Yeah.
EB01, no one wanted EB01. Yeah, no one wanted EB01, and then everyone got screwed because of the set went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So like now everyone knows, oh, EB02, I gotta get in before these, even if I think these cards are trash, I need to get these before they blow up.
Yeah.
So then do you think the opposite might end up happening? Is everyone's gonna purchase EB02 now, and we're gonna see these high prices, and the moment we get this reprint, it's gonna drop?
No,
if we get that,
it'll stay high.
I personally don't.
I feel like it'll stay high. Well, I mean, like that's, I don't know. I feel like it'll drop. I want it to be mitigated, right? Yeah. Like I feel like it can be mitigated. I feel like if you have like eventually, like scalpers are gonna hold on to stuff and more products are gonna come out, even if it's a small amount of product. If it seems like a small filtered amount of product coming out, eventually prices will go down, and scalpers won't do that next time because they've overbought. Yeah. Like Nintendo did this with the Switch. There was a reprint. There was a restock of Switch a couple of years ago. It was after the OLED, right? Where they restocked OLED or whatever during holiday season, and I remember all scalpers bought up every fucking Switch, and because it seemed like there was a low quantity coming in, and they just sent the same low quantity the next week. Scalpers bought those, and the week after that, they weren't selling because they just kept on shipping consistently. It would be sold out every so often, but it would be there. So the demand stayed up, scalpers got fucked, and then everybody still got a Switch. So I would think it's a weird strategy. I think it would work. I also think maybe when we have set parity with Japan, that'll probably go down, I would think. Because if it's a global release, I mean, like you would think that they would have to print.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to print early.
I think I came to Japan at a weird time where prices are way lower because everyone's waiting for 12. So like it's the kind of thing of like with us, right? We're in the OP11 waiting room. Like this area feels like it's in the OP12 waiting room where like everyone I talked to was like, oh, how do you like this deck or whatever. They're like, oh, I'm just waiting for Koala, or I'm just waiting for Shiroshi or whatever. Like they're all just waiting for stuff.
We also had like a format.
So like, oh, okay.
We also had a format, this last format, that felt, I think, a lot of unsatisfying to a lot of players who were
very high rolling.
Playing, a lot of players who had to play Shanks or play Zoro or play Purple Luffy, and then a lot of Dofi players got screwed. A lot of BY is a popular deck,
and now it's gone.
Oh, you played BY? Dude, I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Dude, I'm gonna ride that till I die. I might get a tramp stamp BY tattoo.
Bro, that was...
Are you gonna add RP Law just right above it?
No, we're just gonna put just BY Luffy just stepping on Dofi, dude.
Yeah.
No, he has the 3 kids on his back. On his tramp stamp. It's the 3 children.
They're all like, it's in the tramp stamp, and they're all doing the sake.
Yeah, that tattoo's gonna look so bad out of context, dude. I'm not getting that. Well, you know what? I was fine until you said the 3 kids. I'm not getting that. Worst tattoo idea out of context, dude. It's gonna be at the beach. Like, what the fuck is that?
Speedrun sus YouTube moments. Yeah. That's the challenge impossible. Very quickly, let's move on actually, because any final thoughts on EB02 pricing, where it goes from here?
I think it's just gonna stay consistent. Maybe it'll drop like $20 or something, but like I've told you with extra boxes you have, most of these half print sets just go to the moon. So
once the reprint happens, I'm gonna try to get a box or two just to sit on, just because I like to have 1 box of each set. It's pretty.
I got you.
But in terms of like boxes, like we're players. We're talking about singles. I do think single prices will go down.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, single prices go down.
Yeah,
100% come down.
Base rarity is going to go down.
Yeah. I would say like single prices. So if you're trying to build green purple Luffy, build Lucci instead. Take a minute. Go watch Dean's video on Lucci.
Yes. Build Lucci, please.
Or something else.
Look at this Blackbeard player baiting you over here.
Yeah.
It's fine. The GPs will keep him safe.
Or Shanks. All right. Let's move on to another subject. We talked a little bit about it last week, and we said these immortal words that actually we don't know about Koala in OP12. We don't know how good her support is going to be. Well, the support came out, guys.
It's fucking
kind
insane.
of fucking cracked.
Yeah, it's really good.
So first off, I remember it was at night. Chris sent me the new 8-cost dragon, right?
Yeah.
8-cost dragon, which is a revolutionary army Gecko Moria, essentially. We got a 6/7 Bartholomew Kuma, which is another revolution that just gives you a life. It's just like, I need another life right now. You just toss it there, boom.
And it sticks because they can't really backswing into it or remove it unless they want to give you another life, right?
Yeah. And then on KO, it gives you another life.
So it's an on playability and an on KO ability.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like every time first off, Zach always feels like for the longest time. Shut up! I've been accidentally calling Zach Chris the whole day. All right, like Zach always feels in this hearts of hearts, like, oh, okay, I'm Blackbeard, I'll always win. No, you won't, Zach.
I definitely will always
Who
win.
wins? 7-cost Kuma with a cracked ability, or one leader discard?
I had Zach at 0 with a secret Luffy out, ready and like full board, and he's like, I think I got this. I'm like, you're just shit talking me, Zach. All right,
I gotta bluff my way out of it,
I believe you, but what do we think? Okay, so enough of me talking. What do we think about OP12 and Koala and these leaders and the support we've seen coming out for Rayleigh, for Zoro, for all these guys?
I definitely think
really quick, because I gotta bounce soon, but really quick, let's get this out there. So everyone here, like when you walk into a card shop and like you look at the main showcase, they have like all the new stuff, right? And they go by color. All of the black and yellow stuff is like
at the front,
gone.
Oh, it's gone. Fiends, dude, actual fiends.
Like people are just ready. Like anytime there's like any kind of like the koala block, the yellow koala blocker, like any of that stuff, like all of it's super high priced and then it's gone. And like I saw everyone that I talked to, or like half the people I talked to that I played were like, oh yeah, I'm playing Koala next set. And I was like, oh, okay. And then yeah, they're just here for it. And so like I was like, okay, this is crazy. And then I will say that I think that the more support it gets, the more I've seen it, I kind of like Zoro.
Zoro looks fun.
Part of the whole Koala thing being so big there, could that not be because they've had blue-purple Luffy now? And that's definitely the tier 0 deck.
Yeah.
And Koala hard counters blue-purple Luffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that blue-purple Luffy... I mean, what decks do you think survive when Koala drops? Like, do you think... Like, I think blue-purple... Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Zoro gets nuts at that point.
Yeah, like
Zoro, no, because that.
But I don't think they care.
Bodies.
They want to take cards to hand, because the main way you deal with Zoro is you starve it. So I think they're totally fine being like, yeah, I'm gonna play this chopper on curve and go really wide. Sure, I'm gonna take a life, but what are you gonna do to stop this, board that I've amassed?
Yeah, that's. I mean, okay, yeah, maybe that, but so you're saying Rush is probably gonna counter Koala? You think hard?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
No, I'd agree with you on that, because its
Bella Betty
ability only takes your opponent's life. So if I kill you before you can crack back at me, yeah, the Kuma blocker's a problem, but if you go giant real quick and just rush in, you can rush.
Is Kuma a
down.
blocker?
I don't think so.
It's not. Oh no,
I think Bonnie's a blocker.
No.
Bonnie's a blocker.
I also think because
the Robin.
Yeah, the Robin is a blocker.
The Robin
6/7. Yeah. I also think because her ability, Koala's ability, is only centered around attacking face, right? You don't get that draw trigger off attacking board. You're really incentivized to attack face with those 2 8-cost or more bodies, right? To draw a card. So it feels a little weird.
I know it's biased because I'm playing it right now, but like the blue yellow Nami also counters Koala really hard. The way that I'm playing it, because the way that you play this is like, you can put the deck list on screen or whatever, but like, and you guys saw it. But basically what it is I'm playing the small blockers, so like the Vista or the Law that are just the 1-cost blockers. Yeah. So you play those, you put those on board, and then you're removing stuff with like Nojiko or like Red Rock or anything like that. Yeah. You're just removing board. You're keeping it clear. And then I have leader ability. So like, if you swing big, I'm leader ability, so you have to swing even taller, and then I can just block with the 1-cost cheap blocker.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm very safe. And then I'm just playing like the 7-cost Odin, which is right underneath the Koala range.
Yeah, the 7-cost.
So then the 7, Right. So then I'm just playing those or keeping those up consistently where you can't remove them or I can get rid of them. And then so I'm completely safe and I'm just chipping away at Koala. And she really doesn't have an answer.
I wonder, like, we've seen a couple of the like base rarity stuff released for Koala, like the commons and uncommons, right? We obviously got the supers and Robin and Dragon. I just wonder how prevalent that cost increase is going to be, because that's going to mess with a lot of removal decks. I mean,
there are other cards that came out in the ST. I think it was ST. What was the Luffy?
14?
ST. Yeah, that are all. But like I was looking through those the other day, and like there's some cards that are, I don't know if they're specifically locked to Straw Hat Crew, but that tap just +2 cost, like just straight up like a turn play tap. There's one that's +2 cost and then draw a card if you whatever, you know. That seems like very kind of nuts for Koala, especially
a 6 into an 8 just to trigger leader
very easily. Yeah. And that's I mean, God forbid she has a stage. That's gonna be fucking hell.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, as standalone, we don't even have all the support yet, right? I think we're still missing like some mid-range pieces. We've gotten a few, but the main thing I was concerned about when they revealed Dragon was, do we have a way to fill Graveyard? Because a lot of decks in the past that ran Gecko as a just worse Gecko than Lucci or Sakazuki really couldn't fill Grave, and that was their issue, right? But
and then she got Ivankov.
We've gotten 2 cards. We've gotten Ivankov and the Searcher that trashes the rest of the search.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of potential for there to be enough Graveyard fill to make it impactful. Obviously, I don't think this is another Gecko just because it's a 6 and not a 4 and a 2. Right, like I think the broken part about Gecko is it split that 6 cost into 2 bodies. So
yes,
you could enable things like Helmeppo or Suru. So I don't think it's that broken, but they've shown us some pretty good like 6 or like 5 and 6 costs for the deck. So I'm really excited for how it's going to do in Koala, but also Red Black Sabo.
Yeah, Red Black Sabo is the one I think a lot of people are saying is the sleeper that's gonna benefit from that. I mean, honestly, Revolutionary Army has gotten a lot of crazy support over the last, and I think like it's one of those things in this game where there are so many cards and the effects are so crazy to some extent that it's one thing that I think I like about this game is that the meta is very fluid, because there's always one small tech piece that doesn't make sense, but for some reason works fucking immaculately and just changes the game. I mean, like we were talking about Green Purple Luffy for a while. If you look at an old list of Green Purple Luffy, it's got the 4 2K Sanjis for green. It's got the fat Zoros, and that was doing well on its, and then it has the Robins, right? But then people took away the Robins. They put in the Foxy Choppers. The other thing they put in was the Luffy Taros, which I thought was really, really smart. And then like you said, the build that I was using was an anti-Lucci build that I had found, you know, where it was basically you play, because that Luffy Taro into Sanji Pudding
too hard to deal with for Lucci on curve. And I think more importantly, going into 11, that's like your only way to really combat blue purple Luffy, right? Just that tall 8K body that spams into Sanji and Pudding.
Yeah.
So the thing I want to bring up here too, it's like an interesting part of this conversation, is like, I know people were kind of criticizing with the Gecko ban and everything, and like all the bans that came, the ban wave that came out. I will say that I do enjoy, and just from like playing card games, I think this is a really good direction for where the game's going, in terms of like you make really powerful cards, but then you leader lock them or put them, you archetype lock them, where you can kind of, where everything kind of has its niche, and like again you can, I think moving away from like generalist crazy cards that go in every color of the, every deck, like I think that's moving away from that. I think it's a really good direction.
I honestly really liked the bans. I've loved the game ever since, and that's kind of funny as I was a Doflamingo player and lost Jinbei.
Yeah.
But like even Doflamingo was kind of more fun after the ban, because it was more, it felt tempo.
You're not locked to trying to have to deal with Jinbei. You can put in things like Red Rock and other things like that are
more skill intensive. I think, you know, it speaks to why Dofi is still winning events. Yeah, it's not a bunch of people just waltzing into top cut like it was before. But the players that are really committed to playing Dofi and getting good at it, the deck is still really good for those like high skill ceiling players.
And it seemed like a bunch of weird techs, like I was talking about it the other day, and I found a new tech. It's the 1 cost law.
Yeah.
I hadn't played that, and they were like, it's great in Deshanks. And I was like, how is it great in Deshanks? And they were like, because
I think
all of Shanks removal is high cost.
Yeah, I think the skill expression is so good where when you have cards that are just, it's kind of Marvel Snap too, where like you'd have the same. There's like 4 cards that you put in every single deck. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And so I think
you got
like
Cosmo,
now,
you got Eliath.
Yeah.
I
mean, like there's just cards that like you had Arrow and like stuff like that. Like you have Sarah or something. There's stuff that you would put in every card in deck. But like now with especially like Lucci we were talking about earlier, like without Gecko, you have so many different ways to build Lucci.
Right.
Where you can run into like 4 or 5 different types, and it's all skill expression, right? And it's like kind of what's in your area or what you're taking against. And so like that's such an interesting dynamic of like the way that the game goes. There's really, again, every deck that you look at, like I played a Nami mirror the other day, like yesterday, where the deck list was completely different from mine and the style was completely different from mine. I love stuff like that. I love the deck building aspect of it. That's really interesting to me.
I mean, we talked about how different Shanks was and how Shanks could be teched out like a billion different ways, you know? Yeah. And like, even to some extent, like, I think that's what my issue with Bonnie is. Bonnie felt like it's just, is Zoro in there or not? You know, it felt less of a flexible deck. Even green purple, like I've seen like 4 or 5 green purple lists with very different. With it, like, are you running the Zoros or not? Right? Are you running the Luffy Taros or not? Are you running the like? There's so many different ways to kind of tech out this game. Even purple Luffy is getting, like, I think. Do you guys think that purple Luffy Rosinante thing is trash?
Oh, huge cope. Yeah. I mean, there's a build that uses the Dofi engine instead, just to recycle a giant in other events. I think it's cope, but I don't know. I'm more excited about the new purple Luffy build that I was talking about earlier that comes in 11, right? That just goes back to purple Luffy's routes or roots, because it just wants to like get to 10 Dawn as quick as possible and just drop bomb over bomb, you know? I
mean, that I said it last time too, that 8-cost Katakuri is going to be a very
so good.
That's going to be a terrifying. I mean, I was even thinking about that. Like I saw in my cope, since we all have our cope decks, I saw a black purple Luffy deck running the 4 secrets and won a flagship. I think won like the other week, right? And it's just pure rush. It's just a rush deck, and I think,
God.
Yeah, where it's like, what?
It's terrifying.
Oh yeah, because you can freak, because I don't lose Dawn, I just lose a life. And then if you run a big mom next turn, you can bring it back. But yeah, I think there's a lot. I like this game being like the Marvel of card games a little bit, with like all of these kind of crazy fucking things going on. I agree with like the idea that like you have leader locked stuff. I think there should be some like generalized mid-range.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love when we make really powerful cards that are leader locked or locked to certain
yeah, definitely
region.
I love the idea of like open-endedness though, right? Like I love the idea that like I think you make your leaders really open and really like, hey, this is a really interesting concept, and then the direct support cards that unlock them are maybe leader locked. But then you have generalist cards that support, right? I don't think I'd want a core card that's like generalist, like a very powerful one. But I think a more general card could be something that's supportive of whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah. Core cards, and I'm curious if they will end up being played, is those EB02 2-cost search events. Because at first when I saw them, I loved them. Yeah. And then upon practice, you start to realize it's great for consistency, but it felt like it slowed you down too much.
100%.
I mean, there's some decks that run them and really. I mean, like I saw somebody running it in Shanks.
Or now.
Yeah, and Shanks. If you think about Shanks, it works incredibly well.
Yeah.
Because you're literally just searching for top end, right? I wanted to use it for black purple or for purple Luffy or something like that, and it just doesn't make any sense because you need cards that are 3-cost. You know.
Yeah.
Like that's important.
But I think in the future, I mean,
I think the problem you run into too is like with those in particular, a lot of the decks right now are consistent enough without them.
Yeah. You don't need to. They're. It's a great concept. I think the 4. If it was like 3-cost and over, I think they'd be.
Oh yeah, you're basically finding everything but itself, right? Or another searcher.
Yeah, but I think the 4 is a little overly prohibitive. 4 with the 2, it's over.
And do they have trigger activate main or
trigger activate main?
Yeah, I think those cards are great. It's just one of those cards like Laboon that just hasn't seen. It's just too slow for the meta right now because we're in an incredibly fast meta with everything trying to ramp up to combat blue purple Luffy. Right?
Hey, stop! Don't bite my cats are eating furniture and they do not. Don't bite that.
But yeah, I think those events will be great. Just they need to see a meta that's a little slower to where you don't just get rush down and stuck with like 3 or 4 of them in your hand, right? And then you have nothing to do.
And
my weird cope deck for those events is green yellow Yamato. It's the perfect Dawn amount for Yamato's effect. So you can add a little more consistency. Back when I played Yamato, but I haven't played.
I mean, we should start getting starter deck stuff. I think. I mean, after OP12 releases, right? Or that's gonna be interesting. They're already up for pre-order. I hope it if we just get like it's just existing cards or some shit like that would be fucking.
Oh, it will be existing cards. Don't get me wrong.
No, of course.
They've done some decks like the Uta starter deck. The green one that was just like, yes, you had your new cards, but the rest of the cards were cards that already existed, of course, but they were like actually useless.
Yeah,
like, no play utility at all.
You gotta go, don't you? Or are you good?
I gotta bounce, but I want to bring this up first because we talked about it a little bit, but I want to bring this up. I know everyone's looking ahead to these starter decks and like excited about this stuff, but having played with it, having played in the meta with it.
What the black purple
set? No, this white
SKYROCKET
set. Like there's some strong shit in here.
Like what? Tell us.
The Odin. The Odin is insane.
What does the Odin do?
So it's a 7 cost. I forget what the power is, but the 7 cost card.
Might be an 8K.
If it's going to be removed by an effect, you trash 2 cards to save it, and then you can also rest 3 Dawn to restand.
Oh, it's an 8K, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that's how it makes sense.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, stupid and Dofi. I think Dofi got pretty nerfed just situationally by GP and blue purple coming into the meta. Now you're like, okay, I gotta.
Oh wait, he's a slash character too, right?
Yeah.
Fucking green, blue Sanji Zoro.
Oh god, here comes the cope. You know what? I can't even cope that deck too much because
you can't go. Wait, is it 7? Oh no, it's 7,000 or under. That's the lock, right?
No, I think is it 7,000 or under or 7,000 or over?
I forget.
I think it's 7,000 or under.
I think that deck's good because it's VV.
The
new VV from EB02 just provides a lot of utility.
The draw one, right?
Yeah.
Thank God we got that Usopp. That new Usopp is just great.
Dude, I'm so mad.
I'm playing all vanillas, so
that's
what I want.
Green Sanji. That's not Sanji Zoro.
I had to bring it up because having played it for a couple days now, and like I've played 6 tournaments in the last 2 days. Like,
are you the Hulk telling us that Thanos is coming?
Absolute sweat. Dude,
is that what's going on?
I'm just saying, like this Odin has been like my favorite card to use while I'm here.
Oh,
and
really?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
With blue purple Nami or with blue yellow Nami? Get out from my computer. Stop. Sorry. Get out. No. Out.
Because again, like talking about it, the way the deck works, right? You have the small blockers and I have leader ability, so you have to swing big. And then again, if you want to take it out, you're not taking. I draw so many cards, like I'm not giving it up if you take it out with an ability, so you have to swing on it. But then the same thing applies where you have to swing tall, and you swing tall, I have the small blockers there ready to go. So like, it's just everything's safe.
Yeah, I think Odin's a great card, and I think I find it funny that we're getting 23 through. However, whatever number for the starter decks we're getting in a month before we get ST22, right? So
yeah,
it's a tier or it's a
ST21 and ST22 is in August. So
yeah. So it's a whiles away, and I'm just like they've given us for our like West Coast regionals a couple of day 0 formats in a row. Like the Pasadena one was a day 0 format, in that it was the first time we were going to get these banless and OP10 in combination. And then even before that, with the Whitebeard ban we were talking about earlier, we got another, day 0 format. So it's just they're constantly giving like
RP Law.
Yeah, RP Law too.
For Nats.
I think we're gonna have. I do think that this format we're going into, even with the shorthanded, like only for the month, it's gonna be a fun format. Even though the EB02 scarcity, I think around OP11 will be in like kind of a more stable place. With everything that's releasing, and I'm more looking forward to that with OP11 and hopefully EB02 singles prices going down. Hopefully, I like this game when more people can just jump into it, and less when it's like it's like the apocalypse and you have to find a box or you're dead.
Yeah.
Right? That shit I don't fucking like. But I'm looking forward to hopefully that. I think the starter decks are also going to be. I think when the starter decks come out, we're going to be in a really fucking awesome place.
So then, just question before I know Chris has to go. What starter deck do you think will be the blue Doflamingo of the starter decks? Because that was arguably
either. It's to me it's either Shanks or Blackbeard.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason it's not one of those two.
I don't want
really
Blackbeard.
hope it's not Blackbeard.
I think it's gonna be Shanks.
I don't want it, but it's one of those two.
I think it'll be Shanks. I think Shanks.
I mean, if we're saying the next Dofi, right? Dofi was not a good deck. Like Jinbei wasn't enough to push the power ceiling enough to put it into tier 1. So it has to be something that it wasn't in the meta and then it got jumped up to it, right? So I don't think we can put Blackbeard or Shanks because they are very clearly in the meta, if not tier 1.
Well, no, I think it's Yamato then. I think it's Yamato.
I was just saying that it's like I was just saying them as an example of
what will gain the most
cards where there's a clear hole that like is stopping this from being a top tier deck.
Yeah.
And then it just gives it to it and then it goes nutty. And so I think Shanks and Blackbeard have the easiest like holes to fill.
Yeah.
I think Buggy has
Buggy's, yeah. But good cards.
Buggy has a lot of board spam, but it's just missing something really powerful.
They dropped that. They dropped that new Alvita, and it was just dog water.
Yeah,
it's just good. Not. Yeah. All right, you gotta go. I'm sorry, I don't need to cut you off.
I gotta bounce.
You gotta bounce.
No, I gotta bounce.
Good luck at locals, dude.
Have fun, win lots.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you guys.
See ya. Well, anyway, very quickly, thank you guys so much for joining us for our brand new episode of Go for Lethal. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. And by the way, we also have a fucking discount code thanks to Dean over here. You want to drop that real quick?
Yeah, definitely. So use Go for Lethal 5 at skilldiff.gg, a site that I'm working on with some friends to produce gaming accessories that are really cool for One Piece and other Bandai card games.
Yeah, there you go. We got a lot of stuff coming up. We really, really appreciate the new support on the channel. We'll be hopefully dropping some deck lists and some other things like that. Hopefully doing some giveaways. It'll be fun. One last thing before we go. Send us your lethals. Send us a situation at a tournament where you're about to swing for lethal. You do swing for lethal. And tell us how it went, and we'll try to fucking game out if you did the right thing or you fucked up. John. I don't know who John is, but if your name is John, send us your lethal.
John who always misses his lethal.
John always fucks up his lethal. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. My name is Etabani.
I'm Dean Khasanov.
I'm Zack Chamberlain.
Chris is in Japan and he's missing a train, but we'll see y'all next time. Let's go.
Stay safe.